Well, after a few technical difficulties, it took us a while to upload our last podcast episode, and to be honest, we shouldn't have bothered because Apple actually went ahead and released new M3 Macbook Airs to the public on a press release. So everything we said about Apple not holding an event was actually true by the time we hit publish on there. But it does confirm what Mark Gurman said, that there is going to be no March event by the looks of it, and it's just going to be press releases from here on out. So we're just going to hold on now to see if it's going to happen in the next day or two. If it's following previous cycles, we should see another release tomorrow, and then possibly another one on Wednesday. Now, unfortunately, if you have stock in Apple, you may want to hold on to that for a while because the shares are going to start dropping. Apple has been fined £1.54 billion or 1.8 billion euros by the EU for favouring its own music streaming service rather than the rivals. According to the EU, Apple did not fully inform the device users there were alternative and cheaper subscriptions for more than a decade. And it also found that Apple stopped streaming services such as Spotify from letting users know the cost of non-Apple subscription services. And with that fine, obviously, Apple has come back and said that they are going to appeal it. Now, do I think that Apple should be fined for this? No. But do I think that Apple should also be allowed to stop Spotify saying that users could get it cheaper elsewhere, like via their website, to skip the fees? Then no, they shouldn't have been able to do that either. So I don't know what the solution would have been, but at the end of the day, users know most of the time to shop around for anything and everything, but maybe they wouldn't have known that about the Apple tax unless you're really into the tech news like ourselves. So we'll just go from there. Now, we've seen Apple settle multiple lawsuits regarding the battery gate, where they were supposedly throttling iPhones when the batteries got older, and now Apple has agreed to pay 14.4 million Canadian dollars to settle a class action lawsuit regarding this as well. And this is going to be covering the iPhone 6 all the way up to the 6S model, so including the Plus, and also iPhone SEs as well. And it's going to cover those devices that run iOS 10.2.1 or later. And that also includes the iPhone 7, the 7 Plus, which covers iOS 11.2 or later as well. And Canadian users who submit claims can get anything between $17.50 and $150, and that's Canadian dollars, so depending on the number of claims submitted. And there is a settlement website which we'll link in the description if you are a Canadian user, so you can actually go ahead and submit into there to try and get some money back from Apple regarding this. Okay, so enough bad news from Apple. We're going to move on to some news from Google now and some rumours. Now, rumours are that Apple is going to be releasing new models for the Pixel Buds Pro, so it'll be the Pixel Buds Pro 2. The company originally rolled out Pixel Buds in October 2017, and then they followed up with a second generation in October 2019. Then they went ahead and released a more mid-range Pixel Buds A series in June of 2021, and then they went ahead with the Pixel Buds Pro version in May 2022. Now, they are looking, according to the rumours, of releasing Pixel Buds Pro 2 this year. So it will be interesting to see what Google actually include in there. Now, it would be good if they could include some health features in there. So, for example, a thermometer ability, because obviously more and more companies now looking at going into the medical field there. So getting your temperature from your ears is one of the most accurate ways, sort of ways the hospitals do it. So it'll be interesting to see if they put any health features in there as well. Now, in addition to that as well, they are saying that they're working on an additional size for the Pixel Watch. Now, currently the Pixel Watch is quite small. I think it's good for people with smaller wrists. I know a lot of tech people out there, especially the females, who say that they've obviously got the smaller wrists, struggle trying to get a watch that fits. So it's good that Google do have that and cater to that. So it'll be interesting to see if they can do a larger model for people like myself with larger wrists. and it'll sit on there. Now, my wife has a Pixel Watch 2 and it fits in her wrist quite perfectly, but when I put it on mine, it does look a lot smaller. I hope that Google doesn't drop the smaller size in favor of a larger one. If they do that for the Pixel Watch 3, it'll be good if they keep the two sizes so there's more choice for everybody out there. Now, as I mentioned, I hadn't done a podcast for some time, and when I went back into the Spotify for podcasters section, I used to use Anchor because it was free and I don't make any money from this, and this is just a bit of a hobby. I decided to go with the free route. Then Spotify bought them out, so they changed the login system on there. And then I went to go in there today and found that they are now depleting the editing features on there. It's just a straight upload and publish. And it looks like they're partnering up with Riverside FM now to allow you to edit. Now, that's fine, and I'm happy to see the Riverside is getting some integration in there. From what I've seen from some YouTube creators out there, Riverside is extremely good. I know a lot of YouTubers who actually use it for their podcasts and the video as well as audio, and it looks fantastic. My only concern is it does say that on the free plan there's a 2-hour limit. Now, I'm not too sure if that's just a 2-hour recording limit every month or if that's including editing as well. So if anybody out there uses Riverside FM could just let me know if that is going to be an issue for myself. If it is, it's not too much of a problem. When I'm at the desktop, I use Audacity a lot of time to edit on my Mac. I'm just thinking for when I'm out and about editing on the go on my phone, then that may be something I may need to look into. But yeah, it's interesting times, and it is nice to get back behind the mic to start doing this. Like I say, it's not going to be an everyday thing. It's going to be when the news, obviously, I think is out there enough, and when I've got the time, it's something that I'm going to start trying to get back onto a bit more. So we'll see how it goes. But thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next episode.